my first memory was me standing at the front door, waving goodbye to my dad as he was moving away. I didn't realize how much of an impact that was going to have on me. I get a text from her. She said, "I need you to come back tonight." And when I walk up to the door, there's a note on the door. And it said, "Whatever you're going through, we're going to go through together. Come on in. I've made you dinner." She went above and beyond to show me that she meant what she said on that note. What my wife was showing me was a side of God that I had never experienced before. It was that grace. And it's because of God's love for us that we love him. And it's because of my wife's unconditional love for me in that moment. I had a greater desire to love her.
What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. What we do on this podcast is bring guests from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life to share their journey and everything along the way that led them to where they're at today. Raw conversations, real emotion, and the kind of human connection that can't be faked. We're here to make an impact, and that is what we do. So if that is for you, like, subscribe, all those wonderful things. And if that is not for you, I don't know what your problem is, but it's time to jump on board today. Thank you. Without further ado, I would love to introduce today's guest, ex-Green Beret, 20 years married, 8 children, entrepreneur, and a man of faith. I would love to introduce Eric Wehmeyer.
Thanks, Joe.
How's that?
That's great.
All right.
That's great.
I appreciate it, man. Dude, it is so good to have you here. I'm honored.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, for sure, man. And shout out to Adam real quick.
Yeah.
Adam Sanderson, our boy.
Under Sun Roofing.
Under Sun Roofing.
Yeah.
They'll put that's the only option there is out there. And Adam's a solid individual. He got us connected.
That's right.
And I'm really stoked to have you here, man. I've been looking forward to this, and I know he's going to be pumped to hear it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know he is.
yeah, I'm really pumped to dive into your story. Eric, real quick, what does life look like for you today?
Yeah, great question. So you covered it in the intro. Entrepreneur, husband, father of 8 children. And so it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's busy. I'm a serial entrepreneur. That's kind of how I describe myself in the professional world. I own a couple of companies. I'm on the board of a couple companies. I'm an investor in a company. And they range everywhere from asset management software and engineering services for manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one business called Manumax. Another business is called Stratosphere. And we are Palantir empowered AI solutions. So if you know who Palantir Technologies are, we're resellers and system integrators for them. I sit on the board of a construction company here in Nashville called Wehmeyer Group. We do commercial concrete for general contractors. And then there's one of my partner companies called Quantum IQ, and they also deal in the AI and Palantir space.
Nice.
And then one of my latest pursuits, which really kind of is the overarching thing that guides my life. I've recently started a couple social media pages called True and Better Ministries.
Okay.
Because like you said, I'm a man of faith, and that's really the umbrella over everything.
Of course.
We were talking earlier how your spirituality, your faith is kind of the foundation of everything. And I totally believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really easy to get a window into somebody's life when you realize, when you get to know what they really believe about God.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can actually separate what you do from what you believe about who God is.
Yeah.
And so True and Better Ministries is all about helping people see that Jesus is the true and better everything. So every image that we try to create for ourselves or in ourselves or outside of ourselves, if it's not reflecting God specifically through Christ, it just comes up short.
Yeah.
And so my mission there is to help reveal Jesus as the true and better everything.
I appreciate that. Well, I would like to dive into that more a little later on through it. Yeah, for sure, man. That's awesome though. So you stay pretty busy.
I do.
Does your wife work?
She works harder than I do, but she's a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, I figured. Yeah, I know. She's got the hardest job.
Yeah, man. We've homeschooled our kids the whole time. We just graduated. My oldest daughter.
I love that. We want to do homeschooling.
Oh, it's the only way.
Yeah.
And I know people get, they have their reasons for other methods. And something else we can talk about, throw in there is, I don't think homeschooling is really about schooling. I think it's about proximity to your children.
Yes.
Yeah. And being the major influencer of their life.
110%.
So I think you can do that outside of homeschooling. I just know that homeschooling creates a great environment for that.
Yeah.
But my wife, incredible lady, her name's Beth. She is my rock. She is one of the people who I'll tell in my story, who has really, God has really used to help reveal himself to me. Same thing with my children. But she's amazing. She loves holistic health and medicine. She's a doula. She also has dove into homeopathy here recently. So all the energy things and essential oils and all that. She's home birthed 5 of our children, natural birth. Dang. 7 of them. So she's just strong, amazing woman. Yeah.
I love it, man. Do y'all live on land? I'd imagine you have to. I feel like you need like a whole farm.
I wish. No, we live out in Lebanon, Tennessee.
That's where I'm moving.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm moving up of Big Springs.
Oh yeah, we'll be neighbors.
Nice.
Yeah, we're just south of Lebanon, on 231. But no, we've got like 3/4 of an acre.
Okay.
And I recently just built her a big old garden.
Sweet.
Because we do want land.
Yeah.
We are focused on building generational wealth.
100%.
And I think it's important to define that term wealth, because a lot of people think that's just money.
Doesn't mean billions at all. Yeah, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, like I'm already wealthy. I've got an amazing, beautiful wife, 8 children who love me, and respect me and honor me, and I don't really need any more than that.
Yeah.
But the idea of wealth for me is physical, spiritual, social, mental, and we want to create an environment that fosters generational wealth, where each generation is building on the next generation on all 4 pillars.
It's those things that pass on, you know, that are so much deeper.
Yes.
When it comes to my daughter, I can't just think about like next year in her life. I'm thinking about when she's my age.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do now? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, and I'm even thinking about her kids one day, possibly, right? Like,
yes.
So everything I do now in this life is going to affect that.
That's right.
That's the reality. That is 110% the truth. But I don't think people, I'm big about being present, because people talk about be present.
Yes.
And like, but it's hard. How the heck do you got to draw that line? You got to remain present, be content in the moment. But at the same time, I find it very vital to think that far ahead, because your actions are going to affect that outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my guess is like, my wife and I'm the one who thinks in the future. My wife who thinks in the present.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, and not to interrupt you, but my wife's the same way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of keeps me present.
Yeah.
But I think it's more inherently men do that further thinking.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's the way we were designed.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, our head's on the swivel, we're always looking out for dangers, opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of intentionality as a father is critical
100%
to the development of your children, because you're planting a generational seed by the way you live your life in front of your daughter. Like, you're setting the example of what she is going to expect from a husband, what her kids should expect from a father. And I like to take it at one more generation, because I think it's important that she also sees what to expect from her kid's grandfather. I think a lot of times we fall short, or we sell ourselves short in thinking when you pulled up this morning, I was working on this whole concept of what it looks like to raise daughters, because I have 5 of them and 3 sons, and what it looks like to send them out into the world, because my oldest just graduated high school.
Yeah.
And to prepare them for the world, and to give them the opportunity to experience a life that God has for them.
Yeah.
And to find their greatest joy in the way that they were created and what they were created for. I think you have to be very intentional about pouring into them, but also not thinking that our job is done just because they graduate.
No.
Or just because they get married, or just because they have kids.
Yeah.
Like, I want to pour into my grandkids, and God willing, my great grandkids.
Yes.
Because we can get into my story here in a little bit, but like, my kids, until recently, about 2 or 3 years ago, did not have a whole lot of interaction with their grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And neither did I with my grandparents. And I think there is just a huge gap in generational wisdom that is being missed when we don't intentionally still pursue our role as fathers with our grandkids.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, before we move forward, you just reminded me of some stuff, because, like, I talked about just the things I tell my daughter at bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is going to affect her down the road.
Absolutely.
Especially because I'm intentional about it, so I do it every night.
That's right.
I record here solo every once in a while. I'll record for like 30 minutes just telling her about life.
Yeah.
Updating her, because if something was to happen to me, she's going to have a stockpile of these files. Right. They're called the Aussie files, right? Her name's Aussie.
Okay.
And so she's got the Aussie files she can reflect on, even when I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like, hey, she could pass them on to her kids down the road and be like, hey, you're going through some life stuff. Like, take this SSD drive. Like, your grandfather's on here talking about just things, and I think it's just, that's the things I think
so
about.
These are actual recordings that you're doing for your kids.
Yeah, like, I edit them and everything. I sit here and do the audio, and I'll cry. Yeah. I'll go deep, man. I'll talk about some deep stuff, but there may be a time when I'm gone that she's going to need that.
Yeah.
And I think what a cool thing to do. I think that's where we come to technology we're talking about. Like, that's the beauty in it too. Mm-hmm. You can use it to create things like that.
Yeah.
And it's but you got to be, I think, with everything in life is about being intentional towards it. And I talked about this recently with somebody, like, I'm not going to hit every nail on the head raising my daughter. I'm going to make mistakes.
That's right.
I'm going to have hard days that are going to get the best of me. But it's all about getting up and doing the best the next day. But the thing is, it's all about being intentional.
That's
it.
And
if you're intentional, it's going to work out.
Yep.
Because you can't expect yourself to be perfect. You can't expect your kids to see perfect, but you can do your best.
Well, and you want to be careful not to portray that perfection's the goal.
Yeah.
Like, so it's important that they see your mistakes.
Yeah.
And they see that you can be humble about it and admit it and then work through it. And because I think the worst thing you can do to a child is expect them to be perfect.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
That's too much of a burden for any man or woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good, man.
I'm fired up, man. Well, dude, this has already been great. So this is stuff we connect on. I know you got 8 kids, so your perspective is like evolved. But let's talk about what led to that and where you're at now. Let's take it back to the beginning, Eric. So where do you hail from? Take us to the roots, a little bit about childhood, some influences there in your life, and then we'll bridge into the military and everything.
Yeah. So my story, I want to make it known that the way that I see my story today is much different than the way that I saw my story evolve. And like I said before, everything comes back to this spiritual umbrella of what is true and what is my purpose. And I think where I'm at today is that my purpose as a Christian is to know God and to make him known, to love God and love others. And by doing that, I'm reflecting him rightly. And when I reflect his image, then I'm giving people the best gift I can.
Yeah.
So what brought me to that place was a series of events in my life that really brought me to my knees. And it was this constant, perpetual lesson that I'm still learning, and I will continue to learn, I think, till the day I die, that I'm not enough. in and of myself. I needed Christ. I needed God to intercede on my behalf and to submit to his will and his mission in order for me to experience the real joy and happiness that I was pursuing in all these other things.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of hit the highlight events, and we can come back to any one of them if
sure.
you want to. But I grew up in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
When I was 5, my first memory was me standing at the front door, waving goodbye to my dad as he was moving away because my parents just got divorced. And I remember he was driving a Pontiac Grand Dam 2-door, and I didn't realize how much of an impact that was going to have on me.
You said that's your first memory?
That's one of my first memories.
Oof. Yeah.
And I was 5, you know. You don't really remember too much before that anyway. Yeah. But so I grew up with a single mother. I would visit my dad on the weekends and visit him in the summers. But he wasn't really present when I was a kid. And, you know, just a caveat, my dad is one of my best friends right now.
Okay.
And
that's good.
Yeah. Like that story has been redeemed.
Yeah. I want to go, we're going to get to that too. I'm looking forward to.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
And the way God redeemed that has been incredible and so intentional. You talk about being an intentional father, man, God's intentional. And so I started having trouble in school. My mom recognized it, put me in counseling. I hated it. And when I got into middle school, I wanted to move in with my dad, and he had gotten remarried, had some stepbrother and stepsisters. We never got along. And so high school came around, and just before I was going to go to high school, and this was kind of in a really turbulent time with my stepmom and brothers and sisters, my dad sat me down on the front porch of our house, and this is in Hutchinson, Kansas. And he sat me down and he said, "Son, I just need you to try to be perfect for like the next 90 days. Because I think if you could be perfect, then maybe Kim, my stepmother at the time, would accept you and you guys could get along." And I remember hearing that, and my internal response was, "Oh, I'm going to let you down."
Yeah.
There's no way. But I didn't want to tell him that. And so instead I just moved back in with my mom to avoid all of that. And when I moved back in with my mom, I started my freshman year of high school, and I got into a JROTC program.
Okay.
This is the Army introduction. And had great instructors, some good friends. Fast forward to I halfway through my sophomore year decided I was going to move back in with my dad because I had this need for a man in my life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I didn't really value the man that was showing up in my life at the time. That was my stepdad. His name was Ralph Hudson, and he was the one who was always taking me to JROTC events, soccer, swimming, martial arts, whatever I was doing. He was always there, always watching, and sacrificing work and personal time he would take me hunting. And I had been conditioned to think of him as the enemy since he was my stepdad.
Yeah.
So I didn't value him like I should have. And so I do go move back in with my dad. He gets divorced again. And it's just him and I from my junior year to the end of my senior year. And
well, if he expected you to be perfect, then ain't no telling what the expectations were for him. You know?
Well, man, that's a great point. That's really deep, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think part of what he was revealing in that moment when he was talking to me was he felt like he had to be perfect.
Dude, it gave me chills.
And that's a huge burden.
Yes.
Like really, nobody can carry that weight. No man except for one.
Yes.
And he died and rose again. So when I moved back in with him, we got to start working on our relationship. And it was at the last half of my senior year, we moved to Missouri. I got in with a really good group of friends, but I did not belong in school.
Yeah.
I was never a good student. I graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA. I knew I was never going to college. I remember from the time I was like 6 years old, and I heard about the Navy SEALs, that's what I was going to do with my life.
That's cool.
So I, after high school, I went right to the recruiters, the Navy recruiters, and they were like, well, yeah, you could be a SEAL, you can go to BUDS, but you need to make sure that you have another job to fall back on. And they gave me a list of all the jobs that were available to the Navy. I was like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
So I went next door to the Army recruiters, and and I thought, okay, well, if I can't be a SEAL, maybe I can fly them in. And there's a Special Operations Aviation Regiment, and they fly in special operations.
Mm-hmm.
And the recruiter said, yeah, you can do that. You can be a pilot, but you need to be a mechanic first, which was the first lie. And so I was like, oh, whatever, I was going to go in and then eventually put in my flight packet and be a pilot. Well, this was August 2001, joined the Army. I was in basic when the towers went down, and our drill instructors said, hey, everybody here, you're being converted to infantry and you're going to war. Well, that wasn't true, but I was going in as a helicopter mechanic on the CH-47.
Okay.
And we left AIT, got to my first duty station, Fort Campbell, and deployed right to Iraq. Afghanistan.
Things moved fast.
Yeah.
You didn't expect that.
No. I was super excited, though.
Yeah. I do want to say, what a crazy thing. I haven't met anybody that literally found out the towers got hit while they were in basic.
Yeah.
In boot camp. That's a wild thing.
I didn't see any video of that for a year and a half.
Damn.
It wasn't until Thanksgiving the next year that I was home visiting on R&R from Afghanistan that I actually saw the towers go down for the first time.
Damn. So that's actually when you first saw what you were going to war for.
Yeah, because everything was so fast-paced from basic all the way to Iraq, to Afghanistan.
Ain't no screen time.
Yeah. And it gets even faster after that. But
yeah. You didn't have an iPhone then either. You weren't able to be like, oh.
I didn't have a cell phone then.
Yeah, exactly. Things were different, I don't know. Yeah, that was 2001. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. So before we dive into the military journey, kind of want to take it back to, your childhood a little bit. You talked about some things that were deeply impactful. At the time, what would you say your father's absence felt like?
I don't think I knew it back then as impactful, but today I would describe it as survival. I think a father's role and the affirmation that he provides, the identity that he provides and for the children is unmatched.
Yeah.
And when kids don't have that, they go into survival mode. They become what they have to become in order to survive. They look for those answers anywhere that they can get them.
Yeah.
If I'm not worth fighting for, then I'll settle for anybody who provides me any value.
Dang. Even if it's the worst of them.
Yeah.
Because you don't really have an example of what it's supposed to be.
That's
if
right.
It's not there.
That's right. And I believe that as a father, your primary role is to reveal what God the Father is like.
Mm-hmm.
And he's covenantal. He's sacrificial. He's intentional. He's strategic.
Yeah.
He's a teacher. He's an encourager. It's where we get our identity from.
Yeah. And ultimately, he teaches unconditional love.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, he disciplines those he loves. And so by not having a dad there and being raised by a mother who did an amazing job, my mom's amazing, but she was, she just wasn't able to provide what a father should have.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, just like a father, like I wouldn't be able to provide what my wife does.
Mm-hmm. She
wasn't here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
It's just the facts.
Mm-hmm.
I could do my best,
Yeah.
but those are just shoes that like, I'm not meant to fill,
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I think about now, looking through the lens of my children and how they have a dad who's very strategic and intentional, probably because I wanted that for myself, but they don't ask the same questions that I used to ask about identity and value and purpose. They know it because I'm constantly telling them.
yeah. What's the difference,
In my kids,
Yeah, like what questions were you asking versus like maybe what's a statement they would make that comparably?
It really was. It came down to value and identity. Like, who am I? What am I worth? What am I made for? And my kids today, my girls, the way I'm teaching my children is my girls have been designed, created for a purpose, and that's to be homemakers, to take care of their family, multiply with children, to submit. I know that's a terrible word in today's world, but to submit to their husband's authority.
Yeah.
But it's also important that they're submitting to a husband who submits to Christ. So it's easier to submit to somebody who's in submission to somebody else, but that they would see that role as valuable and multiply that way.
It's interesting, the submission thing. I know a lady that she kind of lived that role, but it was very abusive towards her. And so I think it's men taking, what's been taught.
Yeah.
And like we see it all the time, and framing it in a way that, feeds them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
it's a power trip.
Yeah, it's a power trip. And so there's a negative look on submission because of so many instances like that, right?
So many people have abused it.
But like submission to someone that's righteous and in alignment and is intentional is a completely different story, because you trust them, right? Like my wife doesn't, I'd say my wife submits to me, but in a way that's like, I'm not like, hey, this is what you're going to do. It's like, she just trusts me.
Right.
Like she feels safe.
And that's because your purpose, your mission isn't to serve yourself.
Yeah.
It's to lay down your life and sacrifice for her.
Yeah.
To give her and your children the best life possible.
100%. So there is a huge difference there. Yeah. It's just, unfortunately, like people have screwed it up for us.
Yeah. Well, and that's going back to your absent father. That is the question that your children will ask if you're absent, because it's the question that's not being answered. And so they have to find that answer somewhere.
Yeah.
And whether it's in a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a friend group or a tribe or a gang of some sorts, they're going to find that community and that identity somewhere.
I'm sure you've probably heard it. People probably said, like, aren't you scared to have daughters in this world? I've heard it. Aren't you scared to bring a daughter into the world? I'm like, no. Like, because I have so much confidence in my intention that I know it's going to be okay. I mean, obviously she's going to have to go through struggles. I can't protect her from everything as much as I want to.
Right.
That's not going to do her any good if I am gone.
Right.
But it's also being intentional enough to where, like, if she, for example, something was to happen to me, or one day when she does get married, like, I have all the confidence that she's going to be able to see them for what they are. And like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
You 100%.
Yeah. But you know why? It's because you've given her that example.
Yeah, exactly.
To look for.
Leading by example.
Right.
And that's something, we could dive into that more, but the leading by example thing is something I'm going to actually take note of that, because I think hearing you talk, it's stoking some thoughts that I think would be great to dive into, but we'll get to that.
Yep.
I do want to ask too, so raised by your mother and sisters, where did you learn about manhood?
Oh man. Yeah, that's a great segue. So this is going to overlap some of the military journey. But
we can revert back to it if you want to.
Yeah. Well, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Because, I'll let you decide, because it wasn't really until my third year in the military where I had a man come into my life that was one of those who's that completely altered my direction, perception, and everything of who I was and where I was going.
Well, then we'll bridge into that, diving into that then.
Okay.
But I do want to ask one more question on the childhood aspect.
Yeah.
When did you first feel the weight of not having a father? Like, actually,
I think I was 16.
16?
Yeah. There was something, I actually remember it vividly. I was in my bedroom, living with my mom, and I just had this overwhelming need for my dad.
Yeah.
And he was living in Arizona at the time. So I never saw him because he was in Arizona. And I just knew that if I was going to become a man, I needed my dad. And so I moved out there.
Okay. Well, diving into the military, back to where you were at. So we were talking about, right, you're about to go overseas.
Right.
Yeah. So you're a mechanic on helicopters, right?
Yep. Yeah. I got trained as a mechanic, never actually touched an aircraft after that.
Really?
Yeah. Because we went straight to Afghanistan, and I got picked up as a left side door gunner.
Okay.
And one thing to note before I deployed, talking about those pivotal moments and people in your life that God brings into your life to shape your future. It was my first day at Fort Campbell. I was going through processing.
Okay.
And there's these just barracks that everybody stays in when you're processing into the unit. And it's a Sunday morning. I'm just laying on one of the cots, and I hear somebody going down the hall, knocking on doors and seeing if anybody's in these rooms. He finally gets to my room, knocks on the door, steps in. He's an E5.
Okay.
I'm an E nothing. And so, I stand up, go to parade rest, and he's like, no, man, that's cool. He's like, hey, do you want to go to church? I'm like, sure. Yeah, why not? I don't have any friends. I don't know anybody here. And I was a Christian at the time, just very young. And so he takes me to chapel, which is right across the street. And he introduces me to a bunch of other guys. And it turns out they're part of this group called the Navigators.
Okay.
And the Navigators are a Christian organization, highly intentional on discipleship, on what it means to kind of be develop an intentional relationship with like mentoree, and what it looks like to grow in your faith and those kind of things. So brotherhood, family, I was all in. And so I was with them for about 2 months before I deployed. And what that left in me was a desire to come back to that and experience that the growth, the spiritual growth that I was experiencing in that season, in that 2 months that I was with them. Because it was an older man speaking to a younger man and calling him up and out of his comfort zone. Yeah. And I never had that before. So we go to Afghanistan. I'm left side door gunner. I was actually, we crashed a helicopter just outside of a special forces compound. And part of that mission was that we were flying on was we had a Green Beret special forces guy who was doing reconnaissance of the area. And so we crash landed our helicopter. It was actually a pilot error. We didn't get shot down or anything, but it was right outside of this special forces compound. And within a couple minutes, these guys in beards with tricked out M4s and cargo shorts and flip flops on, four-wheelers come screaming over to our aircraft, do a perimeter around it, make sure that we're secure. And then we end up getting in another helicopter and going home. Well, before we take off, the guy that we were flying around is like, hey, when you get back, come find me. This is where our tents are. I got a gift for you. So I go over there. He gives me this knife. I still got it today. It's cool. But I got to start talking to them and hanging out with them, and we did more missions with them. And I realized, I don't care how long I'm in the military, but whatever they're doing, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of Green Berets before that.
Really?
I'd never seen the movie. Had just totally ignorant.
Yeah.
But what I saw was guys of every rank and age treat each other as professionals. They were mature, and they were obviously trusted to do whatever job that it was that they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I decided then I was going to go to Special Forces selection. And then we were in Afghanistan for 13 months. We got home. We were home for 2 weeks and then deployed to Iraq. So that wasn't enough time to go to selection.
Yeah.
We were in Iraq for another 13 months. And then I got home from that and I went to selection and I got picked up as an 18 Delta Special Forces Medical Sergeant.
Nice.
So that's 2004. And going back to Afghanistan and Iraq, those first two deployments, just before we deployed to Afghanistan, I'm all excited about this deployment, going to war, right?
Yeah.
And
at this time you're a Green Beret, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So this is going back to before I deployed the first time.
Okay.
So I'm going through the arms room, and I'm just I'm just giddy, man. And I'm running all over the place, super excited about going to war. And I accidentally bumped into this lady. And I'm like, oh, hey, my bad. And this man, her husband, looks over at me, and I see that it's a major.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hey, sorry, sir. I didn't mean to bump into your wife. He's like, hey, no problem. What's your name? And I told him. Never thought anything of it again. And then we get to Afghanistan, and we get to Iraq, and we're on our movement up into Mosul, Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this little, what do they call those? The DFAC tents, the dining facility tents.
Mm-hmm.
So just this pop-up little tent. And I'm coming out of it, and that same guy, that major, is walking in the other direction. And he stops. He says, hey, Eric Wehmeyer. This is a major talking to, at this time, I think I was a specialist. And so I salute. And I'm like, hey, sir, how do you know my name? He remembered me, but I didn't remember him.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, remember we met in the arms room. I was like, okay, that's weird. And I went on about my day. Didn't see him again for like 4 months. So now we get into Mosul, and I'm at the chow hall again in Mosul, Iraq. And, when you have enlisted and officers, they sit in different places.
Yeah.
So I'm in the enlisted seating area, and here he comes, and he sits right across the table from me. He says, hey, Eric Wehmeyer. I'm like, sir?
Who is this guy?
This is kind of inappropriate. Like, you're an officer, I'm enlisted. We're supposed to have this separation. He says, yeah, I know. But hey, listen, I just want you to know that the Holy Spirit's really been impressing on me that I'm supposed to mentor you.
Mm.
So if you're down with that, come by the medical station sometime tonight, after 5. Just love to get to know you.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, again, weird, but I'll check it out.
Yeah.
That started a relationship that's continued for the last 20 years.
So y'all are so close.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We don't talk every day anymore, but like you asked me what it was where I discovered the journey to manhood.
Yeah. Through him?
Yeah, it was through him. So, just meeting with him, once a week or so, whenever we could, whenever we had downtime, we'd eat dinner together. We'd talk about life and father wounds and all these things. And what he was really doing was he was exemplifying what a father is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
For me. And so we leave Iraq, we get home, and that doesn't stop. He invites me over for dinner with his family, takes me to church, takes me to the movies. And we continue to meet weekly. It was on Tuesdays at Fort Campbell. And he would allow me to ask the hard questions. He would give me hard answers. And it was in 2004 when, after a year or so of meeting with him, that I finally decided that whatever he has, I want.
Mm.
And I mean, he had a beautiful, loving wife. His son adored him. And I made the decision at that time that no matter what my past looked like, because until then, seeing the wounds that I experienced after the divorce of my parents, I had committed to never getting married or never having kids.
Yeah. You're like, I want nothing to do with that.
I don't want to put kids in this world like that.
Yeah.
Well, after experiencing the love of a father like he was giving me, I realized that's probably one of the greatest gifts I can give somebody.
Yeah.
So I want kids now. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And I remember one night I was at my house, and I remember praying. I was like, God, I want to get married, and I want to have kids, and I want to honor you in that. And I met my wife 2 weeks later.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
What a powerful example he said as well. I mean, he became that father figure that you never had. Like, you obviously, you and your dad, we'll get to that, have rekindled things. But I think for that first part of your life, this guy came in, and you were able to, at a place you were able to see it and really embrace that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the first time I experienced a male a strong male role model who was willing to invest time and energy into me to challenge me and make me better.
Yeah.
And I just think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the good news is, forever who's listening, if your father abandoned you or hurt you in some way or another, that doesn't have to be the end of the story.
No.
That doesn't have to be who you are. That's not who you were created for.
Yeah.
And that there are people out there who will, I use the word adopt.
Yeah.
I think he adopted me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a legal thing.
For sure.
It was a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
And he became like a spiritual father to me. And now that's a gift that I have a deep desire to give to other men.
For
other
sure.
young men who maybe not have that intentional father. And I get to be that for them.
What a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to him. I don't know if you can say his name, but shout out to
David Twilley.
Shout out to David.
He's my hero.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love to hear that, man. And it's kind of crazy how those things just kind of lined up.
Yeah.
Like these are just, hearing you retell a story, anybody can bypass that interaction.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go talk to this guy. Like I got things to do.
Right.
I can make myself busy.
Right.
But you felt that call to like continue interacting with him.
Mm-hmm.
And you could easily made the decision not to. And then here you go. And it's had an impact on your entire life and the future of your life.
Yeah. And, one of the overarching messages that has transformed who I am is this idea of grace.
Mm.
And when there was a season right after my wife and I got married, she didn't like him being around because he was like, so my wife and I met in February, we got married in June, and he was like, hey, maybe you should slow down a little bit. Not bad advice, but for her, it was like a threat,
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, I don't know who this guy is, but
We don't got to slow down.
So I actually took like a 2-year period where I didn't talk to him because of my wife. I didn't want to have any friction there.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you, back to grace, that was when I was living at Fort Campbell going through Special Forces, the qualifications course. When we moved back to Fort Campbell, I reconnected with him, and man, he embraced me like I never left him.
Yeah.
And that taught me that love can be unconditional.
He didn't take it personal.
He didn't take it personal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we often do that too much.
Way too quickly.
It's like, these people separated from me. It's all about me, when in reality it's something deeper that we typically don't see.
Right.
And we just got to understand that.
Right.
And grace is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
My wife had said to me not long ago, she's like, you can show anybody in the world grace. She said, but it's so hard for you to do it to yourself. And I don't know what that is. I think I have this expectation and this standard on myself to, if I don't meet that, I don't give myself grace. I'm like, no, Joe, you're better than that. But then I could look at anybody and hear their past and their experiences and have these conversations and show them all the grace in the world.
Right.
Isn't it a weird thing? I'm sure maybe you've run into that too.
Oh yeah. No, for me, it's, I think it's because I want to show people the grace that I want them to show me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you and I are kindred spirits in that we are hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
But we also see a world that's constantly trying to, I don't know. I see it as, a world is constantly trying to threaten our families or our way of life. And so we've got to be diligent. We got to be relentless.
I'm telling you, you want to set an example, like a powerful example,
mm-hmm.
an impactful example for others.
Yeah.
Right. Just through how you live your life.
Right.
And because, I talk about it all the time, like it's not about labels or what you say. It's all about your actions and the walk you walk, right?
Yep.
Going to the Bible, going to Christ, right? Christ was walking a certain way.
Yep.
He really wasn't preaching at everybody or he wasn't yelling at everybody or what they need to do over a microphone.
Right.
He was just walking the walk
mm-hmm.
and others followed.
Right.
It's simple as that.
Yep.
And so I think personally, I think a lot of people just need to shut up
Mm-hmm.
and walk the walk. And if collectively people just started walking, that would have much bigger impact than all the preaching or saying in the world will.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And so, yeah, and I think when you want to embody that kind of example, it can be hard because you're going to miss the mark sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And, but also you show yourself just enough grace in order to be like, you know what, get out of your head. You're doing your best.
Yeah.
You're good. Just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's an identity issue. I realize that when I struggle to give myself grace, it's because I feel like I have to be the one to give it to myself. If that makes sense. And for me, in my walk, in my faith, I realized that the time I struggle with that the most is when I believe that my identity is based on what I do. And in the Christian faith, it really should be that who you are isn't based on what you do. Yeah. It's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
And so we wear his identity instead, and we can live from that life instead of the old life, the old me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when I remember that who I am is based on what he did, then I can let go of this need to forecast an image that's not real.
Yeah.
And to be somebody that I'm not, or to try to aspire to be something that the world tells me I should be.
Yeah.
Instead, I just get to rest. I'm free just to be who I am, and then to just explore courageously, faithfully, who God wants me to be.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So at this time you're meeting with him, you're married. And so you get married, you're going through this 2-year stint where you're going through your training for Green Beret stuff, right?
Right. So
what was that? Take us kind of bridge into the Green Beret journey.
Sure.
Did y'all have kids pretty quick, or
so
were you deployed
Yeah. So I met my wife in February 2005. We started dating right away. We got married in June because I was going to the qualification course to Green Beret training that October. So then we moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina, go to Fort Bragg, start that training. And if you don't know, the qualification course at the time, at least, it was a 5-phase course where you start out and you go through your technical schooling. For me, it was Special Forces Medical Sergeant training. So there's emergency medicine, there's veterinarian, there's dental, there's OBGYN, there's surgical, there's all kinds of stuff that you learn labs and basically everything that you need to learn in order to be a doctor where there is no doctor.
Yeah.
You're kind of the jack of all trades when it comes to being a physician. And so you learn all of that. And then I went to language school and I picked up Farsi. It's the Persian language, the Iranian language. Mm-hmm. And then you go to small unit tactics and you learn how to lead a team and how to operate in small units. And then you go through SERE school. That's the survival, escape, resistance, and evade. And then you go through the last phase, which is Robin Sage, and that's kind of the culmination exercise where you're using everything as a team in a simulated environment.
So how did you perform through all this training? Was there any moments you were like, I don't got this, or you wanted to quit, or were you just like, nope, I'm going to keep rolling?
Yeah, of course. There was times I wanted to quit because it sucks.
Yeah, which is kind of part of it. They want you to want to quit,
right?
Right?
Yeah. Oh, they're constantly telling you, "Hey, you're a loser."
But it's about moving forward in that want to quit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Is that relentless pursuit of your dreams, of your goals, of rejecting the passivity, embracing responsibility, and those kind of things. And so selection, we started out with 600 guys. Only 10 of them made it through the course.
So you're
one of the 10.
One of the 10 out of 600.
Yeah. So they say that the Green Berets make up less than 1/10 of 1% of the Army. And they're a special in the classification of special operations. I think call me impartial, but I think the Green Berets have the best mission.
Yeah.
Unconventional warfare, guerrilla warfare, and going into a country as a small unit and working by, with, and through local nationals to raise up an army and from within and be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
The motto of the Special Forces, the Green Berets, is De Oppresso Liber, to free the oppressed. And that is something that I latched onto quickly. And it's something that I still continue today.
I can't tell you what the vision is because I'm at this place where I'm climbing this ladder and like I'm just climbing through the clouds.
Yeah.
But I just know I'm going in the direction I'm supposed to. Everything in me can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like getting these stories out there and like committing myself towards, you know, impact of other people and righteousness. It's just, it feels like it's holy work. Like it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
And so, and then I love my wife because my wife's the one holding this ladder. And I'm in the clouds. She can't see me, but she just trusts that Joe's going to drop the rope down and pull us up.
Right.
And like, I know this, and it's wild to say. It's almost like you get to a point to where there's so much belief that you're almost delusional. That I truly believe that to get to a certain level, you have to be a little bit delusional because you look at the most successful people in the world, like people were probably like, that mother is delusional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But look at them. And it's just the people that are willing to face what others perceive as delusion or the unknown and embrace all that and like take hit after hit after hit and get up and keep going. I've seen that those are the people that create things that, you know, I want to create just in my own way. Right. So me, it's just really growing this as much as I possibly can, having full faith and seeing where it takes me, you know, and like the opportunities that it's led me into and like the creativity and the artistic side behind it that I never thought I would be into. Yeah. Like doing all this stuff is like, I've fallen in love with it.
Good.
And I'm like, dude, I never saw myself doing these things in my life.
Same.
Yeah. And it's just beautiful. So for me to give you an honest picture of what the vision is, I'm finally at a place in my life, like, I don't know what that looks like. Yeah. But I know where I'm supposed to be. And I think that's the most peaceful place to ever be. Yeah. Because if I was constantly driven on like this painting, that's when I start to like grab the wheel and just really squeeze.
That's right, dude. That's real. Yeah. Bible even says, you know, don't worry about tomorrow, for today has enough worries in of itself. And it says, you know, if God can take care of the birds and dress the flowers and all of their splendor, like, he'll take care of you. Yeah. And so it's freeing to just trust in the process and trust in the journey. And, but it's not freeing in the sense of like, now there's no burden. It's freeing in the sense that now who I am isn't shaped by whether or not I succeed or fail. Yeah. Like, I'll be good because God's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me, like, that used to be friends of mine, you know, not to hit on this, but they're like, you fool everybody around you to thinking you're successful and you're broke. Like, I don't know. I guess people talk behind my back, and I'm like, damn. And, you know, at first it hurts because it's like, and I'd never say, like we said earlier, I'd never say these things to those people. Right. Like, if they got a dream or they're going for something, man, I'm like, dude, go all out. Yeah. Leave nothing on the table, right? Like, why the hell not? We got this finite amount of time here. Yeah. Why sell yourself short? And that's just how I think of everything. You know, why sell yourself short at all? But they don't really see how I interact with people. Like, the funny thing is I don't fool anybody. I'm very honest. Right. I'm honest about where I'm at, what I'm going through, like what I'm working towards. And I'm going to be truthful about it. There's no reason not to be. And because you can see through lies, or you always will. Right. So there's never a facade. And also, like, success to me isn't, I want to acquire financial wealth for my family. I want to give them that. I want that freedom for my family. That's important to me, and I'm working towards that. Right. That's going to come. But more so, like, you know, like, success to me is a totally different, is like, I'm at a place where, like, leveling up my success. Like, I've had your definition of success of whether I'm rich or not in the bank
is irrelevant.
Man. And, you know, at the end of the day, I just kind of feel sorry for them. Yeah. For where they're at and their way of thinking. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think people are pretty short-sighted in general on what success looks like and
Yeah.
what it requires to get to success. Because like you were saying earlier, like people don't see all the stuff that it takes,
No.
all the hard days and early mornings and arguments with your wife over what direction we're going and all those things. And but that's because most people don't take that step of courage and faith to try to do something that is risky.
Yeah.
But you call it delusional. I call it temporary suspending belief,
Mm-hmm.
and like just questioning, like, is this the way it's supposed to be? Are we all supposed to be, employed and stuck in traffic and sending our kids to some other institution to be taught the fundamentals of life? Or is there a better way?
Yes.
And that's what I was taught to believe, but I'm going to suspend that belief just long enough to give myself the opportunity to ask the question and see if that there's other ways of doing things.
100%. I like the way you put that. It makes me wonder, because you work in like the AI space, right?
Yeah.
You get online, there's a lot of doom and gloom about AI.
Sure.
It's going to end everything.
Sure.
Which I'm sure it can.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it can.
Yeah.
But
it's
like,
a tool.
Personally, me, I don't know. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Tolkien.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Tolkien religion is one of mine, No, but Tolkien is just such a powerful writer. I find so much application to the stories and just life. It's so beautiful.
Right.
And I always think of Helm's Deep when you've seen the movies, right? And, they're in that corner and like the orcs are busted down the wall and they're coming through and every one of them, they're just fighting.
Yep.
Like they don't quit. They just keep on fighting.
Yeah.
And to me, that's kind of what how I look at the world, right? And what do they see? They see Gandalf coming over the hill. They see that staff, that light illuminating. They come rushing down, and I'm like, oh, it gives me chills because that's just how I look at the world in general. But also, so I believe that light's coming. But a lot of people just see so much doom. And with the AI thing, I'm like, well, nobody really looks at like how powerful and positive this could be for humanity as well. Right. Like there's another side that isn't emphasized as much. And I think, I don't know, I believe in collective focus, collective energy, right? So if everybody's believing in this negative thing happen and we're all pouring our energy and our thoughts and our spirit into that becoming, then more realistically, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Rather than like, hey, let's look at the other side of things. Let's focus on the light, the positive, the what good can come, and let's gear our focus towards that and create that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I see where like the AI thing can be extremely beneficial, and going to exactly what you said, like, yeah, it may take your job, but there's an opportunity to create a life that's a little bit more creative or something that like aligns with you a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, I think one of the benefits that'll come out of AI is while there will be a period where it does take some people's jobs, specifically in content writing and imaging and things, even web development, even software coding. You can now talk to AI and it will write code for software for you.
Yeah.
And so while it will take some of those jobs, I think it's going to force people to ask the question, well, was that the best way to make money anyway?
Yeah.
Like now you can go start a business.
Yeah.
And engage the world of commerce and learn how to add value to the world instead of just consume.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody, but the fact that 1% of the world makes 90% of the wealth is just unnecessary. But there's just not enough people who are willing to go take that risk.
Yeah, I agree. I did, before we get back into your journey, I got a question on that 1% of the world wealth thing. Do you think it's their duty to take care of humanity? Like if these mega billionaires, do you think personally, should they be investing in their other people? Like,
yeah, I think it's,
because I have my
it depends
thoughts
if it's a practical or moral question. I actually wrote recently that communism and socialism, or communism and its mini-me socialism, is actually the world's attempt to try to recreate what happens naturally in a community that's in submission to Jesus. And so when you have the early church, when it was starting in Acts 2, you had a bunch of people, they were selling their stuff and giving it, taking care of each other. And that's where a lot of socialists will look at Christianity and say, see, that's just how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just supposed to share everything that they have. Well, there's one missing component to that, and that was their choice. So I don't think you can make a law that says you have to take care of others, whether they are being productive members of society or not. But I do think that there is a moral responsibility that should you be gifted with the gift of financial wealth, that you see that as a gift, and in gratitude to have a desire to share that gift with others.
See, so I align with that, right? I'm not saying like, oh, you get this much money, so just give this much to each person, right? Because like, first of all, you don't know what these individuals are going to do with the money, right? It's like, obviously, if your intention is pure, it's like people are like, well, I'll give money to a homeless person. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, my intention isn't for them to get drugs. My intention is for them to go get some food or use it for a bus ticket to get out of town and start over.
Right.
But what they decide to do isn't up to me.
Right.
But I know my heart is like, I just want to help this person.
Right.
It's that simple, right?
Right.
But I think from a moral standpoint, like a higher perspective, I think it's our duties to take care of one another. Mm-hmm. So to me, I don't believe in necessarily hoarding as much wealth as I can to race to the top. Yeah. So that's where I differ. Yeah, you earned it, but at the same time, you have the ability to like really impact the world. Like just people in your own state, you could change everything.
Yeah.
And so that's where I get tore about it. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Enforcing more tax. I don't trust taxes anyway, so I don't know where that goes. I mean, we do, but yeah. But you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That redistribution of wealth is just an interesting topic. But no, I agree that those who have more have a greater responsibility to share with those who don't.
Yeah.
But I push back on that a little bit, because the other side of the extreme is the idea of when helping hurts or toxic charity.
Yes.
Right. So you can help somebody so much. Really what you're doing is just enabling their bad behaviors. And so those who are saying, hey, if the wealthy is making all the money and I'm struggling just to pay bills, okay, we can have that conversation, as long as you're also willing to have the conversation that there's more that you could be doing to also provide for your family.
Yeah.
And it's not, and if you are just going to sit there and say that as a consumer, I want to consume more, I'm just going to say you're immature.
Yeah.
And you need a reality check on life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell my kids the same thing. Like, every one of my kids is expected to be a productive member of the household society.
Yeah.
We have our own little economy. I mean, we have 8 kids. So there's an expectation that, yes, I am your provider. I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
But you need to be productive. You need to be intentional. You see yourself as a part of the greater whole. I'm not just going to feed you, because all that's going to do is create, 20-year-old children. And I'm not raising kids. I'm raising adults.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I mean, well, this is something, and I guess we could dive further into it at some other point too, because there's so many lines. Obviously it goes back to what you're saying. Like, are they going to be productive members? Are they just trying to take what they can get, and like, again, if you're a multi-billionaire, you can't just analyze everybody. You don't got time to like see who all you're giving money to. So I think there's ways you create certain programs, or just, I don't know the answers, but there's ways to enable humanity to do better.
Yeah.
And like level up a little bit rather than just consume.
Yeah. I don't want to come across like I know what the future looks like. I think AI is going to change the landscape dramatically.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be equivalent to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And how a lot of people thought that the internet was going to take everyone's jobs.
Yeah.
And all it did is just create a new way of doing commerce,
yeah.
And gather information and distribute that information. And so it was very beneficial in a lot of ways. But then it also shut a lot of stores down. So it's the yin and yang, the pros and cons to it all. I think those who are going to benefit are the ones who are willing to adapt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, and personally, I utilize it. It helps me as a solo entrepreneur trying to wear all the hats. this keeps me really structured. And I'm ADHD, so I'm like, all right, I'm talking to Claude or chat. And I'm like, hey, you know, and it does improve the way I move throughout life and my productivity because I'm able to structure in that way. Yeah. So, but anyways, out of that, I was just curious on your thoughts on a couple of those things.
Sure.
Circling back around to Green Beret time.
Yeah.
So you go through the training. You're pretty much at the end. You got to where you said that there, what is the saying again? Or what is the motto?
De oppresso liber.
Yes.
To free the oppressed. Yeah. And I'd say that was Christ's mission too.
Yeah.
He said he came to set the captives free. And if that's his mission, then that's my mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so continuing that story or that timeline, so I'm in the Q course, the qualification course. That's when we have our first child. Her name was Charlotte. And I remember looking at that empty crib and realizing that my life had changed forever. Yeah. And it was empty because she wasn't there yet. And but just knowing that she was coming just completely changed my perspective. I knew at that point I was getting out of the military in the middle of training, in the middle of Q course. Mm. But I was going to serve out the rest of my contract. And so we got done with the Q course, went to my duty station. I was assigned to 5th Special Forces Group, Fort Campbell, was put on an amazing team. And we had our second and then our third. And then I got out. And that was a tough call because I really thought I was going to be a career guy. Yeah. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an American hero. And now I was looking at getting out of the military. I didn't really want to stick with the medical stuff.
3 kids and a wife.
3 kids and a wife.
Did you get deployed as a Green Beret?
Yep.
Okay.
3 times.
Okay.
Several deployments and what they call JSETs, which are like joint training exercises with foreign nations.
Yeah.
And teaching other militaries emergency medicine in the combat environment. One of my the coolest. It seems surreal that was a life that I lived, but one time I was in Oman, the country of Oman, and me and my captain were doing just some reconnaissance there, and meeting with the locals and some of the politicians and some of the military leaders, and we got invited to this dinner where the Sultan of Oman was going to be hosting. It was out in the middle of the desert. They put up this huge tent, and there were generals and colonels from 20 different militaries and countries at this thing. And it's just me and my captain. We're definitely the lowest ranking people in the room.
Yeah.
And the way it's set up, this tent, they had benches along the whole inside of the tent. And then like the Sultan's throne was in the very middle. And the Sultan hadn't arrived yet, but he comes in and he steps in and everyone stops talking, walks into the middle of the room, looks around. He said, "Where are my Green Berets?" And when we stand up and he's like, come sit next to me. Sit at my right hand. And it's a place of honor.
Yeah.
And here we are. I was an E6 at the time. My captain, we were nothing as far as everybody else in the room. But then we got to eat dinner with him. And it was just cool to be in that environment and really see that how much they valued what we were bringing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say is like y'all were outranked big time in that space, but they still held you to the same regard.
Yep.
Because you're American Green Berets.
Yeah.
It says a lot about the reputation that Green Berets and alongside other special forces and the states have. That's the reputation that a lot of people see worldwide.
Right.
They hold you to a high regard, you know, up there with those guys. Yep. So that's pretty powerful. And honestly, I think it's a really cool experience to reflect on. Like that one time sitting in a tent next to the Sultan, you know, having some food and just chatting with him. Like that's got to be cool.
Yeah. I mean, in Saudi, we were invited to a dinner with the Prince of Saudi Arabia. There's many of them, but he gave us all a gift just to say thank you for what we were doing for his troops. And it's just surreal that was a life that I lived. It seems like a completely different life
Yeah.
from what I do now.
Yeah.
But that's kind of been a major, I guess, defining character of my life is I find myself doing amazing things and not really realizing it till later.
Yeah.
So whether it's special forces or starting companies or the things that I get to do in ministry, it's like just enjoying the journey.
It goes back to like, doing some of the things I've done with my business just
Mhm.
alone. And there's been so many powerful experiences in my life, but same way, man. Like when it happens, I'm like, okay, cool. What's next? Like,
Yeah.
that's not good enough. We got to raise the bar, right?
Yeah.
It kind of sucks because you like kind of got these blinders on.
That's right.
And then it takes some like tough things to make you realize and reflect on like, man,
Yeah.
actually that was pretty impactful. That was a pretty big deal, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way
I
to
got
say
to
it.
do that. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm the same way in the fact that like really forcing yourself to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, right? And
Mhm.
again, going back to that balance of like staying present but thinking ahead,
Yeah, I was just
rather
thinking
than
the
at the
same thing.
time we were probably both like just thinking ahead.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least we got these memories we can reflect on and see them
Yeah.
in a different way. I think it's all a timing thing.
Yeah.
Like we need to get to the point to where we can appreciate it and become more present. That's part of that evolution and that growth,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So that's were there any other, before we kind of bridge, I got some questions to go along with the military time. You're about on your way out. Were there any other pretty powerful experiences that impacted you deeply?
Yeah. So when I was at the Q course, there was a season, an event, I guess, where going back to when I was 10.
Yeah.
10 was the first time I got introduced to pornography.
I was 8. And that,
You were 8.
yeah.
And from then it like just became this slow evolving addiction.
Mm.
And it was something that my wife and I hadn't talked about really before we got married. And then it was our first year into marriage where she realized it was a problem.
Mm.
And I remember I was in medical training at a particular part of the school where I wasn't allowed to leave. We were doing our surgical rotations, and so we were, keeping goats alive for days. But I got a text from her best friend, and it said, "Hey, you need to get home. Your wife's having a hard time." I was like, "Okay, what's this all about?" She's like, "You just need to get home." Okay, no other questions. Borrowed a buddy's car, left the school, went home that night, and she just broke down because she realized that I had a struggle with lust. And I couldn't stay. I had to go, otherwise I'm going to get kicked out of the course. So I said, okay, we're going to deal with this. And I went back to school, and I slept there that night. Next day, in the afternoon, I get a text from her. She said, "I need you to come back tonight. Be home around 5. And I said, okay. I show up, and we lived in these 3-story apartments, and we lived on the 3rd story. And when I walk up to the door, there's a note on the door. And it said, "Whatever you're going through, we're going to go through together. Come on in. I've made you dinner."
Mm.
And bro, it wasn't just a dinner. She made homemade spaghetti. She put a red and white checkered tablecloth. She had a candle and flowers. She went above and beyond to show me that she meant what she said on that note. For me, the defining thing of our faith is grace.
Mm-hmm.
It's this unconditional love that we get from the Father. And what my wife was showing me was a side of God that I had never experienced before. It was that grace that the Bible says in Titus 2:11-13 that it's by the grace of God that you are empowered to live righteously and say no to unrighteous things and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And it's because of God's love for us that we love him. And it's because of my wife's unconditional love for me in that moment. I had a greater desire to love her.
Mm.
And I think sometimes we get that backwards. I think we try to control each other into making them love you the way that you want to be loved instead of just loving them the way that they need to be loved and letting that be reciprocal.
Yeah.
And so she showed me a very powerful side of God's character, of her character, and that has fueled me ever since.
Did that correct like the, I guess, pornography addiction?
No.
Still.
I wish it did.
Yeah.
It's gotten easier over time.
Yeah.
But she has had to and continues to show me grace when I fall.
It's a really hard thing.
It is.
I was introduced to it at 8 when I was taken advantage of.
Oh, wow.
In like a really dark situation.
Yeah.
But it stuck with me the rest of my life.
Yeah. It rewires your brain.
It does. It's like, why am I hooked on this thing
Mm-hmm.
that was introduced to me at such a pivotal point that affected every decision I made going forward in life?
Yeah.
And so many men suffer with it.
Yeah.
And obviously overcoming it is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, from what you shared with me, she didn't take that personal in a way, or she did, but like, I think, but she didn't put in that. She chose to like show you unconditional love through that rather than like demeaning you for it, because it's not because you just want to watch porn. It's like there's a deeper rooted issue to it.
Yeah. And that's what she saw was, I think, through the brokenness into the broken man and felt compassion for me. And that would be my encouragement to any young lady who's got a man who is struggling with that. If you think that defines him, it will.
Yeah.
You have to be the one to show him the grace. And that's part of his healing journey. It's part of my healing journey is my wife walking with me through recovering from that addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also an identity issue. Like I've realized over the years that one of the biggest reasons, the times that I struggle with that the most is when I feel the most out of control.
Yes. So
I grasp for control. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have your faith in something that's concrete, then when the winds come and the rain, then you're going to get washed away.
Yeah.
But if your faith is on something concrete, then when those things come, they're not that big of a deal. So in the times where I have been struggling in business, that's the time that I really have to be careful because I'm grasping for control. And that's just one way that I can take control.
Man, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's like your control is just, that's what I see as like the devil creeping in, right?
Yep.
That's the ego.
Yep.
Is that, and it judges you for it. It judges your past. It judges where you're at, judges your, the outcome of things.
Yeah.
And it makes it even more difficult, right?
Yep.
And so just kind of, again, going back to like letting go of control. Mm-hmm. And that's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
For people,
mm-hmm.
Because we all want to have like a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Because to a degree that control, some kind of, if you're completely off the rails, like having some of that ego or control, like can protect you in a way,
mm-hmm.
but there's that fine line. It's just a very fine line. You cross that and
it's where you put your hope in.
Yeah.
If your hope is in your ability, then that's as far as your hope can go, is what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put your hope in something bigger than that, then what you can do is exponentially impacted.
Oh yeah.
And I just know, for me, when I am out of control, that is, and I feel that anxiety or that fear creep in, that's really the clue that I have taken my eyes off of Christ and put it on myself.
Yeah.
To control the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And instead I just need to remember, oh wait, he spoke everything into existence.
Yeah,
I think you can handle this.
for sure.
And because while, I've got several companies, it's not all, we don't just have money coming in hand over fist.
Yeah.
Got lots of mouths to feed, lots of employees to feed. And it's a heavy burden.
For sure.
That's why I think more people should get into entrepreneurship, because they need their faith to be tested.
Yeah.
In ways that we typically as Americans don't get tested.
Yeah, no, it'll force you to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's very vulnerable, but it's honest, and it's something that a lot of men especially struggle with.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so many out there that won't ever admit it.
Yeah.
It's a pride thing, but there's nothing wrong with being, hey, this is something I deal with, because I'd say, I don't know what the percentage would be, but I'd say the vast majority of men have struggled with that. It's at least at some point.
I'd say it's over 95%.
Yeah, easily.
I share this story a lot, either at church and ministry or men's groups or whatever I'm doing. And the Bible says in James that you should confess your sins so that you can be healed. So there's this pathway to healing that includes vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where Jesus says, that where we are weak, he is strong. Yeah. And that's the real goal here, I don't share this story or this message to bring glory upon myself or any recognition here.
Mm-hmm.
I want you and anybody else listening to see Jesus through it.
Yeah.
And that he's the one who redeems and restores things.
Yeah.
It's not in my power. If I did it in my power, I would never get there.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's a travesty, though, that there aren't more Christians who can feel like they can be vulnerable. Yeah. And by the way, the numbers of men who struggle with that are the same in and out of the church.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot
about
what we believe about God. Like, if he really is unconditionally loving, and our Father, and has our best interest at heart, then we should feel like, I should feel like I can be vulnerable really with anybody, because my identity isn't what you think about me.
Yeah.
It's what he thinks about me. And the more I could share my vulnerability and show that he's the one for the reason that I can be vulnerable, then he receives the glory, and that's the mission anyway.
Yeah.
So it's something that I know plagues a lot of men, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And it starts with resting. One of my mentors that we haven't discussed yet, his name's Chris Cox, and he came into my life in 2016 when we first started to go to this church that we're in now. And he taught me, hey, here's how you read the Bible. Here's how you understand it. Here's how you can communicate it to other people. And we still are friends and in a mentorship relationship today. And he described wrestling sin like this. He said, how would you win in a tug of war with an 800-pound gorilla? Okay. Wrestling with sin's like doing tug of war with an 800-pound gorilla. You're going to lose.
Yeah.
There's no way to win. So how do you win? You drop the rope. That's what resting and realigning and letting Christ handle the rope looks like. And so that's the only way I've found to defeat it when it starts to creep into my life is, okay, I realize that I have this desire. That's a trigger that tells me, oh, I'm trying to retake control. I'm trying to pick up the rope again.
Yes.
I need to let go of the rope and then just be, be faithful. Trust that God's going to take care of it. And now that need for control goes away.
What you resist persists.
I like it.
And it goes fully aligned with what you're saying. Like, if say there's a porn addiction or whatever it is, and you're constantly trying to like fight it, and you're like, this is bad. You're putting it all on you that way.
Right.
And so you're constantly wrestling with this thing.
Right.
And it's just going to keep coming at you.
Yeah.
Even tenfold.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's the whole idea of don't think of an elephant.
Yeah.
What did you just do?
Yeah.
An elephant. So you do need to be actively fighting it, but not in the same way of, I don't know. it's hard to describe, but it really is resting instead of fighting.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it.
Just having awareness and being present in it. And also it comes back to the grace thing too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so we can, again, this for the next episode, we can dive into this even further.
Yeah.
I've got like a tally marks of different stuff because there's so many of these subjects. We could probably continue for an hour longer, 2 hours longer, right? Sure. And I love this stuff. We're building up, you know, a great dialogue for a future conversation. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, happy to.
So thank you for sharing that. Now, getting out of the military, one thing I did want to ask, you know, brotherhood and special forces.
Yeah.
Probably very impactful towards you.
Yeah.
I guess you didn't have that really when you were growing up.
Right.
So what did that give you? If you don't mind me asking, what did that give you that you'd never had? Like it's something that you hadn't experienced. So how did that impact you?
Honestly, my time in special forces left me with still a desire to find a deeper brotherhood.
Yeah.
Every team's different. And the guys that I served with are amazing.
Yeah.
But we just didn't click that well. Some of the guys I still talk to today. But honestly, it left a longing in me for something deeper, something richer and more fulfilling. I still long for that thing that I had before I even went to Afghanistan, where there was somebody who was mentoring me in a brotherhood sense, not just a mentor-mentee relationship, but like, no, we're really going to go do life together.
Yeah.
And I think God put that kind of longing in me because that would lead me to another big phase of my life, and that was discovering missional communities, gospel fluency, saturate the world, and this idea of how can we do church better.
Yeah.
I kind of grew up in church, but I didn't really go to church until after I was married. And then even then I struggled with it being superficial. It was a mile wide and an inch deep. And it wasn't until Chris Cox, who showed me how to actually take ownership of my faith and have an intimate and personal relationship with Christ, that I think for the first time I got a taste of what it's actually supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And then in the same vein of De Oppresso Libere, to free the oppressed, my mission became to help the bride of Christ fall in love with the true and better groom all over again. And that's Jesus. And so my mission today in ministry and in life is to help Christians see Jesus for who he is and how to reflect who he is to the world.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you have to know who he is.
Yeah.
And it's not done in one sermon a week. It's done in the everyday stuff of life with God, with his people, on his mission. He wants the whole heart, not just part of it.
It's done in the walk.
Yeah.
You know, walking like him, you're going to see who he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you follow him through your life, he's going to take you on a journey that's going to constantly challenge you, shape you, mold you into what you were created for.
Yeah.
But it takes intentionality and submission. And those are hard things for us as Americans because we're so busy trying to be productive that we kind of just approach our faith like that's a checkbox.
Yeah.
I checked that box. I'm done for the week.
We slap the label on, we're good.
Right. And I did this. I compartmentalized my life. Like, here's my work and here's my faith. And that's not what he wants. Mm-mm. He wants us. It's like we're his soldiers, and he deploys us everywhere around the world. And it might be your neighborhood. It might be your place of work. It might be your school. It might be your community. It might be your church. It might be, who knows? But that's where you have been sent to reflect who he is to that people group.
Yeah.
And so when we compartmentalize, we rob that community of people that God's trying to reach from experiencing who he is, because we don't think that we're supposed to live out our faith all the time.
Yeah.
And being intentional with our our identity as a missionary, a sent one by God into that people group.
It's not a switch you just flip off. Like, you keep it on.
You're right. It's either who you are or you're not.
Yeah. You don't get to decide whether or not you're going to walk that way or not.
Right.
Like, I think it's important to be intentional about like staying in step the best you can at all times.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And all throughout your life.
Yeah.
But I think is that what it makes sense? Like, cause that's what you're saying is like, you can't just, it's not a part-time gig.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we suffer from a culture of consumerism where we think that God's kind of like this cosmic genie who's we pray to when we need him.
Yeah.
And while he is a loving father and he will definitely answer the prayer of his children, that would be like my kid only coming over when he wants something to eat.
Yeah.
I don't want just your mouth. I want your whole heart.
Yeah.
I want you to know how much I love you and for you to take that love and that generosity and impact the world with it.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants from us too.
100%.
Yeah.
But you know, and it goes back to the unconditional love. Like, your kid comes over to eat, just to eat. Don't get mad at them for it. You just love them unconditionally and meet them where they're at. And that's what creates that bridge.
Yeah.
For them to kind of give you their whole heart. It's not something that happens that fast, cause I'm sure there's a lot of parents in situations, they're like, you only want us, you only want me around when I can do this for you or feed you. And it's like, well, love them unconditionally, like, if that's what it is, then you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, that's definitely part of it. The other side of that coin though is unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional acceptance.
Yes.
And so, there does come a point where you need to, in order to love that person, do the hard thing.
Yes, of course.
Whether it's discipline or whatever. And God's the same way. He loves his kids, so he'll discipline his kids. It's not because he doesn't love us or because he gets some joy out of punishing us. No dad thinks that way. No good dad. And so he's going to be intentional that way with us too.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to, before we dive in, I want to dive into some more of the faith stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you got out of the military, you've talked about identity a lot.
Yeah.
So what was that shift like for you getting out?
Well, so when I got out, I was offered all kinds of opportunities, but they were all, security deployed positions, $1,000 a day to go work security for the president of Afghanistan. Very appealing, but that's not why I got out. I got out because because I love my wife and I wanted to be there for my kids. And so I actually took a position as an implementation consultant for a technology company, which was kind of a hit. I got to work from home. It was the first time I worked from home. And years prior to that, I was working, I was gone 9 months out of the year, either in training or deployed or whatever. And so I definitely got a lot more family time, but I took a 50% pay cut when I went into the civilian world. That was 2013. And between that and 2015, I worked for that technology company. In 2015, a buddy of mine who owned a engineering company for manufacturing said, "Hey, I'd love to have you come help me grow my business." And so I started that and thought I was going to be making all kinds of money.
Yeah.
Well, a year into it, I didn't receive another paycheck for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And you talk about bringing you to your knees. I had 3 kids at the time. There were days where we could only feed them the rice that was in the cabinets. I had to refinance my house just to pay for bills. And get electricity cut off, multiple days and weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I remember there was, we had a pastor who was teaching on the story of Abraham and Isaac during this time. And one of the things that he said was, God is known as the provider. It's called Jehovah Jireh. And that stuck with me. And I realized in that moment that God needed me to stop trying to be the provider and to trust him as the provider. And for whatever reason, that was the lesson that I needed to learn, because after that, things started to break free.
Yeah.
And we started to see some success in business. And then, so I think what God was doing as far as my identity was deconstructing this idea that who I am is simply based on my own performance.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing for me. I care about my image probably too much. And it's something that he continually works on me in. So he humbled me, brought me to my knees, literally crying at my bedside. God, I need you to do something. I feel like a total failure.
Man, you're hitting me hard with this.
And, but then things started to pick up, in business. We sell software and engineering services to manufacturers. And then in 2018, we actually bought some software. And then from 2018 to 2023, we 10x'd our revenue, annual recurring revenue through our software sales, and engineering services. And it was during that time that COVID was happening. It was, some things were still kind of shaky in the company. And so I invested in some companies and helped a couple friends start another business. And that's how I got to 4 businesses later.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I can tell you now, even today, as far as identity is concerned, like it really, I keep going back to, it's not, who I am isn't because of what I'm doing or because of what I have done or even what I will do. Like that's a trap.
Yeah.
That's enslavement. But it's a lie that I think the enemy wants us to believe, because there's no faith there.
Yeah.
Or it's a false faith in myself. Who I am today is because of what he's done. And I break it up into 3 separate categories. And it's based on what we call the Great Commission in the Bible, Matthew 28:18-20. And it says, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, teaching them everything I observed, everything you've observed from me, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And so being baptized really means this transition of identity. It's this immersion in identity. And so being baptized in the name of the Father, we are family.
Yeah.
And baptized in the name of the Son, we are servants. And being baptized in the name of the Holy Spirit, we are missionaries. So that's how I see my identity today, is family, servant, missionary under the banner and mission of Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your businesses and stuff are just a part of that.
That's right.
That's not your identity at all.
Right.
Yeah. It's easy to, so many people get caught up in the web of like their identity becoming whatever it is that they do.
Right.
You see it with people maybe that are influencers, right? Like they, maybe in fitness or something, they become this, that's their identity, is this whole character.
Yeah.
But it's like, who are you outside of that?
Yeah. It's whatever image, most people get into the trap. It's the image that you are casting to the world. And if you feel like you have to cast an image of yourself to the world, then there's a whole lot of work to do to maintain that image.
Yeah.
And it's too much pressure.
Yeah, for sure. When did faith stop being a concept and become a framework?
Oh man, what a great question. It really happened after, probably within a year after being discipled by Chris Cox. He, like I said, he taught me how to read the Bible. Like it's not just a book that you can pick up and read.
Yeah.
And it's a misconception. It's got like 10 different genres within it.
Well, if you just pick it up and read it, you're likely to take it very literal.
Yeah.
But it's much deeper than that.
Well, and there are parts that are literal.
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
parts
of
that are
course.
figurative. There are parts that are poetic. There are parts that are historical. There are parts that are, what they call the epistles, which are just letters.
So he taught you that.
Yeah.
What do you think he saw in you?
A student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
That's saying when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah, for sure.
He saw someone who was interested in being and intentional about learning. And as long as I showed up, he did.
Yeah.
And it was 3 consistent years of meeting every Saturday morning, and just going in-depth Bible study. He would take me on mission trips, teaching me, all the different kind of facets to faith. And then I forget how you worded it, but where it became a framework for me is when I realized, oh wait, I'm no longer dependent on Chris for a relationship with Christ. I was dependent on Christ for the relationship with Christ, and I knew how to grow that relationship through what he's taught me. And I want to empower other believers with the same thing.
Yeah.
So that they too can depend on Jesus and know how to feed their spiritual growth themselves without being dependent on somebody else.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying be independent. I think that's going the other direction. I think as Christians, we're to be interdependent on one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that community.
Yeah. He was the connection that helped you grow in that way, that you could just build that personal relationship and grow there on your own.
Yeah.
But then you can provide more to him in the same way he helped you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like at one time you were learning, now you're able to bring something to the table and help each other grow in that relationship.
Right. And it really created some consternation in me, because I started to resent the church for not teaching me that before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a really just deep desire to want to teach other people that, and I struggled.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that helped me put framework to all of this, like the Family Servant Missionaries, that comes from an organization called Saturate the World. It was founded by a guy named Jeff Vanderstilt. I actually get to do a webinar with him next week. But he has this concept called gospel fluency.
Yeah.
And it's learning to speak the truths of Jesus into the everyday stuff of life, because the Bible says that the truth that sets you free.
Yeah.
So how do I communicate the truth to people that need it in a way that they can receive it?
For sure.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about mentorship is getting people to break down their walls long enough for you to really see them. Like you want to pull the mask off, and they believe that there's a monster under the mask, because that's what they've been conditioned to believe, is that they're just this awful person. It's like, no, I want to take the mask off, and I want to show you I can love the person under the mask.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's freeing.
Truly.
People. Yeah.
And I think, going with that, I think this one been one of the most important parts for me to really reach people, I think, is just being vulnerable yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just a powerful thing. And that's why I tell people all the time, like, it's like I just cut my wrist open and let it bleed out.
Right.
That's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm bleeding out for everybody to see.
Yep.
I have nothing to lose.
Nothing to hide.
And I think we've been conditioned so long to like be careful about what we talk about and be, but it's like you're blocking off real connection with other people. Right. And the whole thing is about connecting with one another.
Exactly.
So if you're holding back, you're just keeping those walls up. And I think a lot of people have just their whole life has been conditioned that way. So those walls are thick. I mean, it's like, how do I break into this shit?
Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you basically just throw yourself down, like you said, cut your wrist open. And you just set the example of letting them know it's okay to be vulnerable. I'm not going to judge you. I've got nothing to judge. I've got no pedestal to judge from. We're all down here and just trying to help each other.
I'm not better. Yeah. I'm not better than you. And I've had people, working through some family things, it's hit a hard road that not too long ago. I won't go into it too much, but it's just like, it's also how you talk to them, right? Because when you do try to come at them with like truth or understanding or trying to like help, break certain cycles or whatever, it's like, oh, you think you're better, and it's like, that's where they're unconditional. And that's like meeting them where they're at, just loving them unconditionally and leaving that door open. You have to kind of re-gear your whole approach on trying to like bring them and like help, because family and friends, I'd say family mostly will take it most personal when you try to like correct things. Yeah. You get what I'm getting at?
Oh yeah. Jesus said you can't be a prophet in your hometown.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows you. They know you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of the problem. There's this phrase I've trying to coin. It's called asymmetric motive mirroring. And it's this idea that two people do the exact same thing, get the exact same results, but with different motives.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you try to give advice to somebody, and from your perspective, it comes from a pure and righteous heart of just wanting to help them.
Yeah.
The way they receive it is through the lens of the motive that it would take for them to say the same thing.
Mm.
And so they look at it as in like, well, if I was going to say the same thing to you, it would come from a place of self-righteousness. And so they impose that on you because that's the only way, that's their understanding of what it would take to say the same thing.
Yes. And I'm sure you see that a lot in discipleship, because you know, there's a phrase, holier than thou.
Yeah.
So when people come at, you know, say I go to somebody, or you go to someone, and they have a totally different viewpoint on the world than you do. Like you don't align with it. Yeah. But you're willing to like see that like there's a level of deeper understanding that actually y'all connect on probably more than you realize.
Absolutely.
That's what I've realized with everybody I've ever talked to.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And it's like you remove the labels and stuff, but when you go at them and tell them they're wrong, what do people inherently want to do? Defend themselves and rebel. So like, and that's where I go back to just walking the walk. You got too many people with microphones telling everybody what they need to believe or live.
Right. When
in reality, that's just going to like encourage their side of things to grow, or how they're living to grow, because they're going to be like, screw you. And guess what? These people I know said, screw you too. So I'm banding with them, and everybody else that doesn't like that, we're going to get together and just keep going. And I've used this analogy over and over again. It's like two mountains growing, and the tops are just getting further apart.
Right.
We just like slam it with a wedge.
Yep.
You know? And so you've probably seen that in discipleship. You're like, you can't go at somebody if you want to touch them and share the word in the way you believe. You're not going at them and like, listen, you need to get your shit together. You're wrong, because you probably won't see them again.
Right.
So it's all about the approach of how you go about it, and that comes to personal relationships regarding anything.
Yeah. Yeah, the same is true in Christianity as just in life. And I learned this phrase before I got deep into my faith: is people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And Jesus did the same thing. I mean, he left his comfort zone of heaven, crossed the gap of eternity, entered the world, the very world he created, in order to connect with us, and then lived with us for 3 years, and then we killed him. And he did that to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And most people aren't willing to bridge that gap. Everybody wants to be understood instead of trying to understand.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of intentionality, and you're going to get your feelings hurt, and you're going to get disappointed when you choose to invest in somebody else and love them unconditionally.
Yeah.
And that's your wife, it's your kids, it's your students, it's your mentors, it's everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
With your spiritual work, you know, what do you see now with your father wound that you couldn't see in the past?
I'd say it still goes back to identity. That once my understanding of who the Father was reshaped or reframed, it gave me hope that I could be something different than what I previously understood fatherhood to be.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. So, you know, you look at God the Father, and, you know, he wants to adopt. One of the phrases in the Bible is, you know, you see this theme of adoption. So the Father is very much about adopting people who are not in his family. And then he loves them unconditionally. He teaches them, molds them, trains them, equips them. And so my father wounds, my absent father or my unintentional father gave me the wrong idea about what God was like.
Yeah.
About God the Father. And he's, like I said before, he redeemed that in my dad. I think when I left for the military, something changed with him. Actually, I know what it was, and that was his now wife, Rhonda. She's a saint.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I love her. And she became kind of what my wife became for me, and just an avenue by which God got to my dad.
Yeah.
And he would tell you that today.
Yeah.
And softened his heart. But, there's also the thing that I missed out on seeing growing up was how a husband loves a wife.
Mm.
And so my poor wife, you're
like, listen, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're going to figure this out. Thankfully by then I'd already met David Twilley, and I got to see in real life how he loved his wife. In just ways I'd never seen before. Like seeing a man who actually just like cherishes his wife, and his family. And, but my wife's had to deal with me trying to figure all that out over the years because I didn't have that example.
Yeah.
Well, now I look at things from a faith perspective. Jesus is called the bridegroom for a reason, and his bride is the church. So we, the people, his body, are his bride. And so we've got a picture of what that's supposed to look like. And it looks like the husband's laying down his life, the groom's laying down his life, just like Jesus did for his bride. And then it looks like the bride who's in submission to the groom's mission and multiplying. That's what we do as the church. That's how we're supposed to live. And so now I can, with that identity, step into my role as the groom, trying to reflect Jesus, meaning so I need to lead and love and sacrifice who I am and my goals and ambitions for my family, to be the provider and protector for them. And then so that my wife can reciprocate. And then together we are molding these humans into adults and disciples of Christ and active members of society with eternal perspective instead of just a worldly perspective. And then you also see it, part of my faith is the Holy Spirit. The mission of the person of the Holy Spirit is to reveal Christ to the world. And so when you realize that as a believer, I believe that my body's the temple, so that replaces the old temple where God used to dwell. Now he dwells in me, in his spirit's in me, and his spirit is still on mission. And that mission is to reveal Christ. So how do I do that? Well, I do that in the everyday stuff of life, whether I'm, interacting with you here or opening the door for somebody at the grocery store, or how I love my wife when she's not being lovable, just like I can not be lovable sometimes. Yeah. My kids who, will test your patience and your boundaries and everything else. It all comes down to seeing everything through that lens of being on mission for Christ.
That's beautiful. And it kind of brings me to your father. What, with all this, what did the rebirth of like you and your father's relationship look like? Because I'm sure you held on there was some resentment there.
Yeah.
And naturally. So how did that look for you guys?
Yeah. So, when I started meeting with David Twilley, he really talked to me a lot about this stuff. And I remember one of our first conversations, he was like, so tell me some of your dad's shortcomings. And I couldn't come up with any. And what he told me was like, the reason for that is because you want to hold your dad in high esteem, but you can't, and you have a hard time articulating that because there's no connection there.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a great relationship at that time. That 2 years the last 2 years of high school definitely helped. But it wasn't until David showed me what a good dad could be like that I realized I could look at my dad with compassion for his shortcomings. So my dad is simply a product of his environment, his raising, and everything else. And so the way that he chose to deal with me as a kid was a reflection. He just did the best he could.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was in Iraq and I chose to forgive my dad that day. From that day forward, my dad and I's relationship has thrived.
Heck yeah.
And I know that part of that is because I have communicated and said, and with my words and actions have said, Dad, I forgive you.
Yeah.
that set him free from having to try to earn my forgiveness.
Yeah.
And instead we can just be father and son.
Yeah.
And move forward. And since then, I remember one of the deployments that I was on in 2008. This is a couple years after we'd started kind of just working on our relationship. And he's been married for a couple of years at this point, to Rhonda, the saint. And I got a letter from him in Iraq. And he was encouraging me to be like Joshua in the Bible and just have the strength and faith and courage of Joshua. And he told me how proud of me he was. And so I think part of the catalyst for his healing was my idea of Father being healed so I could forgive him. And then in turn, he was released to love me.
Yeah.
And I mean, they moved here and they moved close to us about 3 years ago. And it's just been so good for me and for the kids and our relationship. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that grows.
And really, had you held on to those things, you'd be missing out on what's coming now.
Yeah.
I heard that from my mentor's father. He's in his 80s. He came on my show.
Yeah.
He was out from Cali, and that was a big thing. He was a pastor at one point, and he was very just like, it's my way or the highway, right? And they had some tough times, but like things have circled back around. He's like, I wouldn't change a thing because we wouldn't have what we have now,
right?
And that's a beautiful way to look at it. You can't do anything about like all the time that's passed except for learn from it.
Yeah.
And then I think with you forgiving your father, you release yourself in a lot of ways of things. And that's like the way I look at forgiveness with other people. Like if I'm forgiving them, at some point I've felt some kind of way about them.
Right.
Whether it's resentment or anger or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. So I look at everybody as like a mirror. Like, I feel this way because of you, but what is that showing me about myself?
That's right.
And so that's also a growing point. And then in turn, you're able to forgive yourself. Mm-hmm. So this forgiveness is not just one way. It's also like a return of forgiveness to yourself as well. And that's a powerful way of moving forward.
Yeah. Because if whatever standard you hold them to, you're going to hold yourself to, and vice versa. Whatever standard you hold yourself to, you're going to feel righteous and justified in holding them to. Mm-hmm. So this idea of forgiving them, giving you the power to forgive yourself is valid.
Yeah.
Same is true. If I can forgive myself, that frees me to also forgive you.
Yeah.
Because I recognize we're all just, we're full of faults and none of us are perfect. And we all just need to embrace that, and instead of judging one another, empathize and love one another.
Yep. Yeah. And ripping off masks till the day we die.
Yeah.
Yep. That constant growth.
Yep.
Marriage and family would be great to drift into real quick, just because it's something I also like. This very important to me. Yeah. I've been married, a few years. I've got a 3-year-old daughter. So you're a lot more seasoned. You've been married how long?
Thank you for putting it that way.
You're a seasoned vet. How long have you been married to your wife?
Over 20 years. So it'll be 21 years this September.
So 21 years, 8 children.
Yeah.
That's like you don't hear about that.
Yeah. It's a marathon.
It is a marathon. How old is your oldest child?
She'll turn 19 this August.
Dang. And how old is your youngest?
4 months.
19 to 4 months, dude. That is nuts, bro.
Can I just say something about that real quick?
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I believe it.
It is. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was a Green Beret. I went through that, right? But it is the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Is seeing my family, don't hear this the wrong way, but as the mission. Like that's my single greatest priority in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I, worship my family or anything, but loving my wife and her knowing that she has my love and my heart unconditionally, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because there's the inner man, the worldly man inside of me that just wants to live for myself.
Yeah.
But man, when you tame that beast and you submit it to the mission, and you see who she becomes as a result of that. nothing gives me more joy
Yeah.
than seeing my wife at peace.
Mm.
And second to that is nothing gives me more joy than seeing that my kids have a dad, a marriage, a mom, a family, a community, and a faith that I never had.
Yeah.
They're starting, my oldest, her name's Charlotte. She is, I hope this doesn't sound arrogant because I'm going to be biased, but she is more mature and more capable than most adults.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we've created an economy where our kids are not the center of our world.
Yeah.
I think that sends them the wrong message. If you revolve your whole world around them, they need to see that there's something bigger than them.
Yeah.
And so it's long hours, late nights, early mornings. Kids are like the worst employees ever. You know what I mean? Like they don't do anything that you want them to do, and you're constantly retraining them.
They're watching you.
But they're watching. And my daughter did a thesis as her senior project wrapped up, and then she gave a speech in front of judges for her senior project. And the way that she just spoke with so much confidence and clarity just made me so proud.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Seeing the fruit of the labor over the last 18 years. Yeah.
Well, you said something too, is that like, I think a lot of people, I don't know where you get with this. I always tell my wife she's number one. Mm-hmm. It's because I'm like, it's because of you that our daughter exists.
That's right.
So if I don't prioritize you, what does that teach her?
Absolutely.
Because if I don't prioritize you and this falls apart, what does that teach her? Right.
Right.
So you need to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
And by a byproduct of that is her being on that level. Right. But like, I can't just invest all in my child.
Right.
And forget about my wife.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole reason this situation exists. Right.
Right.
And I think a lot of people lose sight of that in marriage and stuff. And it's easy. I mean, and being an entrepreneur, my wife and I are very bold about checking each other.
Yeah.
When I'm just so consumed and busy and I'm like focused, she'll tell me,
sure,
Joe, I need more of you.
Yep.
And I'm like, thank you for that. I lost track. She doesn't take it personal. She understands.
Yeah.
It's all for them.
Right.
But in the same in return, right? And I think communicating those things is, for some reason, people just lose that level of communication.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way. And then, 20 years down the marriage, they have all these kids, but then they're like, who are you?
Exactly.
Complete stranger, right? Yep. And that's something if I could give anybody advice, I'm not like, haven't been married forever, but I've got a beautiful marriage and I know that. And it's because my wife's just, I make sure she's number one in my world, and that bleeds into my daughter's life. And yeah.
Yeah, I would add one thing to that, and this comes from my perspective from my faith. For me, the number one has to be God.
Well, absent of that, I guess when it comes, here, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. So like God is at the forefront.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting you don't think that. I just want to, for those who are listening, just to continue the conversation is because I think there are some people who do believe that their spouse is their number one. And absence of God, you are putting that person into a godlike position, and that's going to be toxic for your marriage.
Yes.
Does that make sense? You ever seen somebody who just like worships their spouse?
Yeah.
And the amount of weight that puts on them is unreal. And we actually struggled with that. Like really? I would say that early on in our marriage, like I worshiped her, she worshiped me.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is we keep failing each other. We have these high expectations. Well, when you have your expectations are higher than what that person can live up to, you're going to be disappointed over and over again.
Yeah.
And the reality is that we're all going to disappoint each other. So we need to put our hope and our highest expectations on the one who never fails.
Yeah.
And then that emanating from that, you're able to love your spouse even better. And just to put the stamp on what you said, there's a saying that the greatest gift you can give your child is a loving marriage.
Yes. 110%. It's the most beautiful thing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
8
kids though. What drove to that decision?
So when we met each other, we met at a Disciple Now weekend. I was chaperoning some young men. She was chaperoning young ladies. We had a couple hours in the evening after the kids had gone to bed where we were just sitting around a bonfire, and we both shared that we wanted a big family.
Yeah.
She wanted 6. I said, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I knew then that I wanted to marry her. But honestly, it hasn't been like a intentional decision that we were always going to have 8. We both said that we wanted at least 6.
Yeah.
But for me, it was, okay, if God's going to provide the resources and we're still able, we'll just keep having kids.
Yeah.
And our last pregnancy was very difficult. We had an emergency transfer to the hospital. She normally births at home and couldn't this one. And so that was like God saying, okay, good job, guys. You're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been kind of organic. We've never really tried to do any birth control or anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of let it happen. And I'll tell you what, man, every time we've had another child, God has provided.
Yeah. Just, you have faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to work.
And he takes care of it.
Yeah. I mean, heck, you're taking care of a family of 8, that's, or there's 10 of y'all.
Right.
So that's a huge household, man.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Do you have 10 different rooms, or is it like,
No.
we got some roommates in
We're
there?
stacked on top of one another.
I figured so.
Our youngest is in our bed. The boys share a room. 2 girls share a room. 2 girls share a room, and then our oldest has her own room.
Heck yeah. I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions and then my final question.
All right, let's do it.
Cool with that?
Yep.
Book outside of the Bible that you keep returning to?
Gospel Fluency.
Gospel Fluency.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm an avid reader. Several books come to mind. How to Win Friends and Influence People. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Nice.
10X is Easier Than 2X. That's a business book.
Sweet.
Great book by Benjamin Hardy and the Science of Scaling. And The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
That one.
Yeah. Yeah, those are my favorites.
One military memory you'll never forget?
Definitely the shaking hands with the Sultan of Oman, the helicopter crash, and having the Special Forces team roll up on us. SERE School, I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Can I take a couple minutes?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so in SERE School, I think it's okay that I share this, but there's this, at the end of all of this training of survival, escape, resistance, evade, is you end up in this POW camp, and they are allowed to hit you and embarrass you and starve you, and you're already hungry and tired. I was hallucinating. I was so tired and hungry.
Yeah.
And towards at the very end, one of the things that they do is they make you say a pledge to this fake flag. And they're representing a separate country, and you're just their POWs. And so you do it or you get the crap beat out of you. And so they would turn you around and talk to you. And then when you turned around, you had to say the pledge to this flag. And every time we would get it wrong. And this is what was supposed to be like the last day. And so we would get it wrong, and there's 100 of us POWs here. And they're spraying you with cold water, beating you down, stripping you, and just totally humiliating you. So this happened like 8 times in a row, where they'd be like, hey, turn around, say the pledge. Somebody would mess it up. We turn around, they beat us again. And they're like, you know what? Obviously you guys are not learning how to do this correctly. And so we're going to keep you here another day. And so you just go into like, oh man, I thought we were done. And then they're like, okay, we're going to try this one more time. And they say, all right, turn around and say the pledge. And you turn around, and they're raising the American flag. And at your liberation, you're being rescued.
Sick.
And these are all Green Berets. we had some SEALs and some MARSOC guys there too. Not a dry eye in formation.
Yeah.
Saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that whole Deo Presso Liber, that's what pulls on my heartstring.
Yeah.
Is I want to give other people that sense of freedom.
For sure.
Spiritual first, everything else follows.
Yeah. I love that, man. Thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it sounds like me and my brothers, we got a prospecting period. I'll have to tell you about this next time.
Mm-hmm.
We got a prospecting period, and yeah, it's kind of like that, man. You're getting waterboarded. You're having to box like 8 dudes in a row.
Yeah.
One after the other.
We're
putting you through hell, but it's also like there's something to be said about earning your way to something.
Yeah.
And having to go through some suffering in order to get there. Your gratitude and appreciation for it is so much more powerful. And it, yeah. So when you take that oath or whatever it is, it's like, you're like, man, I did that, you know? So
yeah,
I think it's necessary for brotherhood groups.
Sure.
Truth you wish someone handed you at 18.
You're not defined by what you've done.
Thank you. Love that. 2 more, and then my final. What does your father's absence at the time mean to you now that you're a father?
It's shaped a lot about how I approach fatherhood. It lives in the back of my mind when I'm tired and my kids want to play.
Yeah.
I think back to those moments where I was them and wanted to play and didn't have anybody to play with.
Yeah.
And so I push myself harder to be for them what they deserve, but also what I wanted.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
If your faith cost you everything, would you keep it?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
This life is so short. And on the other side of this is eternity.
Yeah.
So 10 billion years from now, I'm going to be able to look back. I want to be able to look back and say, I did the best I could.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if it cost me my life, you can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
Conviction is one of the most powerful things. It
Yeah.
says so much about somebody. It's like that true raw conviction. Are you willing to die for it?
Yeah.
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 Something you got to ask yourself too,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're really about it, if you truly believe in that path.
Tougher question is, if it cost your family everything, would you keep it?
Oh, you're asking me?
Just in general. Like, it's easy for me to say, yeah, I didn't lay down my life, but would you lay down your wife's life for your faith? Would you lay down your kid's life?
Eternally, I think for them, yes, you're doing the best thing for them.
Right.
As hard as that is to say.
It's the hard, right decision. Yeah.
But it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It all comes, I don't know. I'm a big believer. Like, someone once asked me, would you do the thing that gets you ahead, or will you always do the right thing, even if it holds you back? And I'm like, the right thing, if always.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and it goes right in line with that.
Mm-hmm.
Final question for you, my man.
Yes, sir.
All right. I ask everybody this. Eric, what is your relentless pursuit?
Relentless pursuit is to be transformed into the image of Christ every day. Benjamin Hardy, in his book, 10X is easier than 2X, says, with the statue David, when asked why or how he came up with it, Michelangelo said, I just removed everything that wasn't David. And I believe that my relentless pursuit, my greatest purpose and sense of joy and happiness will come from not conforming to my faith, but being obedient to my Savior and becoming the image that he wants me to represent.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Eric, where can people find you? Show you some love, show you some support.
Man, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. My businesses are Wehmeyer Group LLC. That's the construction company in town. Stratosphere Business Solutions. That's stratospheresolutions.biz. That's the Palantir empowered AI. And then manumax.ai. That's manumax.ai. That's our Palantir empowered asset management software and engineering solutions. So I'm all over the place. Stop by, say hi. Love making connections.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to shake your hand real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. All right, guys, until next time. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned in this show, and honestly in life, is that healing doesn't live in just one lane. Some people find it through addiction recovery, some through therapy, some through faith, some through hard conversations that they've avoided for years, and some for finally being honest about what they're carrying. I started this show to give people a voice, to share real journeys, real struggles, and real growth. And what it's shown me is how many people are walking through similar battles, even if it looks different on the surface. Through this platform, I've been connected with people across so many lanes: addiction recovery, mental health, veterans and first responders, faith, marriage and relationships, trauma, and everything in between. I want to say this clearly. If you're listening right now and you're struggling, please reach out. You don't need to know exactly what you need. You don't need the right words. You don't have to even know exactly where to start. But through my network, I'll do everything I can to get you connected with the right person in the right lane for where you are. That's what this show is about. Real stories, real connection, and reminding people that there is a way forward.